Welcome to Find Joy with Joyan podcast. I am your host, the confidence and visibility queen, Joyan Chan. I am a self-made entrepreneur who went from a nobody to receiving an outstanding leadership award on stage in Dubai, being named as a successful person in my home country, and speaking on stages all over the world, both virtually and in person. Now, I'm on a mission to share what I have learned and what I have done to get here, to empower other female entrepreneurs and leaders to do the same, to help them scale their own visibility, confidence, authority to make a bigger impact and income. Whether you are new to the business world or feeling unsure about public visibility, or you want to be seen and heard in a way that doesn't feel icky but authentic to you, my membership program, the Confident Visibility and Authority Accelerator, is designed to help female entrepreneurs with online-based service businesses show up confidently, sell authentically, and stand out as the authority in their industry. You will learn my tested roadmap that is not one-size-fits-all, that supports many business models so you can become visible in the world in your own unique way. Our mentorship weaves together personal development, alignment practices, and modern business strategies. You will do the inner work, strategic development work, energetic work, and get implementation support to clear the blocks in order to up-level your visibility, confidence, authority, impact, and income. If you want to find out more about my membership program and see if you are a perfect fit, visit the link www.joyanchan.co/CVAA. Again, that is www.joyanchan.co/CVAA. You can also find the link in the show note below. And every Wednesday, we are giving you access to the world's best and brightest minds of business in their fields on our show every Wednesday. Listen in as these leaders impart their wisdom, inspiration, and stories to empower you to become the confident leader of your business and life, and find joy in everything you do and create. Now, without further ado, let's dive into today's episode. This episode is sponsored by Get the Law of Attraction. If you have been listening to this podcast, you will know that I am a big believer of the universe and the law of attraction. Get the Law of Attraction is a spiritual and inspirational company that gives you something really good like chocolate chip cookies to feed your soul and your mind every single day. They provide daily Instagram posts and reels on the universe, gratitude, spirituality for your headache life. They also have an educational course on the Law of Attraction and Gratitude Journal, and their links are in the show note below. Go to their website and use promo code JOYAN, Joyan, when you sign up to get $25 off. Happy New Year! Find Joy with Joyan listeners. I am so thrilled that you are here today joining me for our very first episode together. In 2023, it's going to be exciting, it's going to be joyous, it's going to be magical. I promise you. And listen, I'm not here to tell you what you should do, I'm not here to tell you how you should start running your life, or I'm not here to attack you for setting New Year's resolutions. I know I said that I don't encourage people to do that, but if it works for you, then by all means go ahead and do what works for you, I'm just here to share with you all of the possibilities, me and my guests and my friends, all the possibilities. We're just here to open you up for all the creative possibilities for what could be possible for you. What could you do? What are some of the options? What are the choices in front of you? So I'm here just to give you my since we just embark on the new year, and I'm just here to give you one piece of advice, and that is to go for your dreams. Really go for your dreams, And I remember 2 months ago, I was in Denmark, Copenhagen, and I remember I was one morning I was having breakfast at the hotel lobby, and I was having breakfast alone. I was sitting in a corner alone because my morning is very sacred. I just want to be with myself. I didn't want to talk to anyone. But there was a young lady. She decided to join me by the table, and she decided to sit with me and join me for breakfast. And I remember telling her, I don't usually talk in the morning until I have my coffee, but it's fine with me. So, and she laughed and she asked me, how am I? I was like, okay, is that why you wanna come and join me for breakfast just to know how old am I? And I got nothing to hide, so I told her my age, and she got a little surprised, and that was obvious. So I asked her, so how young are you? Now tell me. She was like, okay, so make a guess, make a guess. And I guess it wrong. I have to say I guess it wrong. I'm sorry. I thought she was 20 something, but turns out she was only 18. I was like, oh my god, I feel so old now talking to you. And, and she shared with me her story. And she shared with me, this is her first time traveling alone overseas. I can't remember where she came from. And she decided to share with me some of her challenges, what she's going through, her struggles, and without knowing that I'm a coach. And I didn't tell her that I'm a coach, but I was coaching her because it's just who I am. It's just what I do. I guess that is the reason why she was attracted to me in the first place and why she wanted to talk to me. Because there was the energy that I was putting out, there was the energy that I was projecting. I guess so. And there's a point that I'm telling you about this story. So I remember she asked me one question because she was only 18 and she was like sharing with me all her problems, all her challenges. And it's mostly like, I want to go out, hang out with friends, I want to go to party with friends, I want to drink alcohol, but my mom wouldn't let me. And I was like, okay, so this is really a serious problem. I get it, because my mom is being overprotective. Even me traveling alone to another city, she was freaking out, she was worrying, and she was asking me not to go, it's not safe. So I was like, okay, yeah, I totally get it, because I was once 18 years old as well, so I get you. And I remember she asked me one question. So she asked me, so since you are in your late 20s, which I was, what would you tell me? What would be your one piece of advice for me? And I was pretty stunned by the question, because no one has actually asked me that question before. And the only reason is because I don't always talk to 18 years old teenagers. I talk to people who are around my age or people who are older than me. So that was the first time someone asked me that question. An 18-year-old young girl asked me what would I say to her. And I paused and I took a minute to think. And I said, I want you to go for your dreams. I want you to seriously go for your dreams. I was very serious. I was looking at her, I was looking into her eyes. I could see through her soul, as though I was looking into my own eyes and speaking with my 18-year-old self. I just wanted her to know that she was capable of doing anything she set her mind to. She's powerful. She's limitless. I wanted her to know that she could achieve anything, her wildest dreams, her deepest desires, only when she decided to go for it. She could make it happen. She could make anything happen for herself, because she has everything she needed within her to make it happen. I wanted her to know that. I would say the same, and I would, in fact, this is what I would say to anyone, which is what I have told you as well. To go for your dreams, to go after your dreams, to chase your dreams, to pursue your dreams, no matter what. And I think she liked that. And I was so happy, because I know no matter where she is or what she's going to do in her future, I know she will always remember there was this one old lady who once told her to go for her dreams. And I'm so glad that that person was me. Because whenever she has self-doubt, whenever she has fear, whenever she couldn't decide, whenever she feels lost, she would always remember to go after her dreams. So don't waste another year not pursuing your dreams. Don't waste another year not taking the leap of faith. Don't waste another year not listening to your heart. Don't waste another year not doing what you really want to do. Don't waste another year not becoming the person that you have been dreaming about becoming. Don't waste another year questioning your worth, thinking that you are not good enough. You are enough. You are enough. Don't waste another year letting your insecurities hold you back anymore and start believing in yourself. Just start believing in yourself a little more. Don't waste another year of your life liking the idea, loving the idea of someone else loving you more than you loving yourself. Right? Don't waste another year loving the idea of someone else loving you more than you loving yourself. Take care of your body, take care of your heart, take care of your mind, take care of your soul, and make it a difference for yourself. Also, don't waste another year on resentment or holding on to the past. Instead, start learning how to let go of the past and find the lessons from that experience, whatever it is, from that person, from that situation, from that failure, from that relationship. Find the lessons and find the strength within you to forgive others and to forgive yourself. Don't let your fears take over another year of your life, but let your courage, let your passion, let your happiness lead the way. And what do I mean by that? Follow your heart. You know what you want, right? You know what you want to do. You know who you want to become. Don't waste another year of your life. Don't trap yourself in comfort zone, scared of change. Change is the only constant. Don't leave anything to tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. There's no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. Tomorrow will never arrive. Don't waste another year procrastinating. What would happen if you really go for it? If you take action and go for it? Wouldn't it be better than sitting there thinking about what could have happened at the end of the year, December 2023? I don't want you to reach there at the end of the year and say, I wish I could have done more. I wish I could have achieved more. I wish I could have become more. I wish I could have started something new. I wish I could have. No, I don't want you to say that. I want you to celebrate yourself at the end of this year. We'll celebrate together. I am so proud of myself. I am so glad that I did it. I'm so glad that I pushed through it. I'm so glad that I stepped out of my comfort zone. I'm so glad that I didn't let my fear hold me back. I'm so glad that I listened to Joyan chant. Well, I will take credit for that for sure. But you will have to let me know. And in the past, when I set goals for myself, when I set my intention for the year ahead, I would, because I'm a high achiever, so I would set a lot of goals for myself. I would set many goals for myself, at least 10. That was me in the past. But this year, I only have 3 goals. I only have 3 goals, and that is enough for me, for the first time ever in my life. 3 goals for a year is enough. Because they are not they are like huge goals, and I shouldn't review. I would love to, but I shouldn't. You will know in the coming days, and because I will be sharing more and more on my social media and in my podcast itself. But I could share with you one, my very first goal, which most of you, I would say many of you already know, which is I'm going to start writing a book. This year I am going to write a book and I'm going to publish it. And the reason why I want to set it in this episode is also because I'm doing it for myself. I'm saying it for myself. Why? How does it work? Because I am announcing it in my own podcast on a public platform to an international audience that I'm going to start writing a book this year and I'm going to publish it. By doing so, what I'm actually doing, this is what we call public accountability. Now I've already announced it. It means that I have to do it, right? I have to do it. And this is the reason why I want to announce it now, because I want you guys, some of you, to hold me accountable, right? I also need to be held accountable. This is what I do for my clients, for people I coach, for people I work with. And I also need accountability, because I'm just a human being just like you. I'm also a human being. I'm imperfect. I procrastinate. I have fear. I have limiting beliefs. I have all these things. So here's what I want you to do. Set 3 goals, right? At least 3 goals. Because if you set all big goals all at once, at the beginning of the year, you will overwhelm yourself. And that is the last thing you want to do. And that is not helpful in achieving the goals, You will overwhelm yourself. I'm not saying you can only achieve 3 goals this year. Well, you can achieve as many as you want, but first, maybe we can break it down, right? In order to achieve an amazing year ahead, in order to have the most epic year ahead, the best year ever, let's break it down so that you don't get overwhelmed, right? We can break it down into 4 quarters. So for the first quarter, these are my 3 goals, You can do it this way. And once you have achieved the first 3 goals, then you can set the next 3 goals for the next quarter. In this case, you'll find yourself more focused, more intentional, and, less distraction, let's say. So if you're someone who, just like me, in the past, you're a high achiever, you set many goals, I want you to try to cut it down, or, maybe just segment it into first quarter goals, second quarter goals, and third quarter goals, and fourth quarter goals, instead of trying to achieve all the goals all at once. But if you're someone who don't set goals, I know some people, they don't set goals, at all. Because you are just being comfortable, let's say, right? But the best way to predict the future, the best way to predict 2023, the forecast of 2023, based on your horoscope, based on your star sign, right? Based on your zodiac sign, that is, I always tell my mom, because this is a funny story, because my mom will send me articles about, the forecast, and I will tell her, I will tell her, Mom, I don't believe it, because I believe my destiny is in my own hand. I do believe that. So the best way to predict the future is to create it the way you want it to be, right? Destiny is in your own hand. Whether you believe it or not, that is up to you. That is my own belief. And that is how I want to live my life. I want to create my life, based on my terms. So, sorry, I digress. So if you are someone who doesn't set goals, I want you to start with 3 goals, start with 3 goals. Can be small goals. It doesn't have to be big, ambitious, audacious goal. No, right? You don't have to write a book, You can read a book, right? That can be one of your goals, to read a book, because I know that it's a goal for many people. Like every year, we just want to read more books, right? I want to read a book a month, but start small, right? Start small. So if you are not someone who has the habit of setting goals, you are not keen on setting goals, then you can start with 3 goals, It could be, like I said, to read a book, or learn a new sport, or start a side hustle, learn a new language. It could be just as simple as that. So that is the first thing that I want you to do. That is your first task, is to set 3 goals for yourself, right? You can pause me here and then set 3 goals and then come back. The second thing that I want you to do, now I want you to pick a word, right? I'm sure some of you might have done it before. You might have already done it. So no worries, you can still do it again, or you can meditate on that word. I want you to pick a word that sums out your intention for the year ahead. Just a word. So if you could choose a word for the year ahead for 2023, what would it be? What would it be? Normally that word will come out immediately. And to give you an idea, I can share mine with you. So my word for this year that I have thought about, that immediately came out when I asked myself this question, is authenticity. Authenticity. I don't know why, but it just came out right away. Which means that I am going to stay true to myself. That I'm going to stay true to who I really am. That I'm going to be in alignment with my true self, my truest self. That I am going to do everything that I'm going to do, that everything that I'm going to create, or whatever that I'm going to say to you, to my students, my coachee, it comes from a place of authenticity. That means I'm not going to sugarcoat my words. I'm not going to pretend to be someone I'm not, which I have never done. So that is my word for this year, and I love it. So I want you to pick a word. Now it's your turn, right? Pick a word, and I would love to hear it from you. So I will put a question box. I think this function only works on Spotify. So if you're listening on Spotify, you will scroll down and you will find the question box, and I want you to put in your word, and I want to hold you accountable. So you can also DM me your word so I know it's coming from you, so I can connect with you on Instagram. So now, this is my little surprise for you today. Because it's our first episode of the year, I was thinking about, what should I talk about? What should we do? I decided that I'm going to put together. So I went back to the archive and I put together a bite size of inspiration, motivation, empowerment, life-changing advice from the best of the best guests that we had on our show for the past 1.5 years. And we're going to talk about how to change your belief. Because if you're already talking about changing our life, if you really want to change your life this year, you're really talking about changing your belief. Your belief about who you are, what you can do, and what you can't do. It's all based on the belief that you have about yourself. So this is what we're going to learn. So sit back and enjoy some of the best conversations that I have ever had on the show. So in my opinion, right, I think this is why most people don't get what they want, or they fail at manifestation. They know what they want, they have desires, right? They have dreams, they have goals, but at the back of their mind, they also have limiting beliefs and fear, right? We all have limiting beliefs and fear, right? Everyone has it. So it becomes a constant struggle between knowing what you want and being held back by all these thoughts, right? So for example, let's say someone is trying to manifest and visualize them getting the next promotion, or buying the dream house, or getting into a relationship, or making a lot of money. But if they still have limiting beliefs around money, for example, money is the root of all evils, or I'm not good enough, right? In one of your videos that I watched, you actually talk about stretching our own beliefs. And
yes,
you say you can only receive as much as you are willing to believe. So are they still able to get and attract what they want?
So let's just start with how the limiting beliefs got there. So remember, you come here a little baby, you're pure, infinite intelligence, and your mind was not corrupt, okay? But then you learnt You got messages and messages and messages. So anything that you receive as input, and as a child, you don't have the ability to filter that out or to say, hey, that's not true. Okay, it's impressed upon your mind. And when something's been impressed upon your mind so many times, it goes into the subconscious mind. So it's now writing itself. It's now a program that is saying, hey, your mind just said, hey, you've thought about that a couple of times. Let me take it off your list of things to think about it. I'll run it on automatic. So we don't even know these limiting thoughts. Well, the thing is, this is kind of strange, but it's interesting that we are divine and we are infinite and we are unlimited, but we choose to come into this lifetime to become limited in order that we can become unlimited again. Okay? Do you understand that? Until we wake up to wanting to become limited. So in the same way that we got the limitations through repeated impressions is the same way that we get out of them, okay? Through the repetition of new ideas. It is true what you just said, that the universe is, we are these powerful, infinite, intelligent beings with unlimited potential energy like clay in our hands. We have the ability to think, and that energy will form and create. Okay, so energy is flowing to us, but it will only flow to the limit of our belief. It will only flow to the limit of what we assume about life. Neville Goddard says we don't receive what we want, we receive what we assume. We assume this is a struggle in life, we get this struggle. The other month I was cycling, and I thought I was cycling with my husband, and then we were turning to go home, and it was a nice easy shortcut home, and he decided to go up the hill, and my thought was, oh my gosh, what's he doing? It's really high, it's going to be really hard. Next thing you know, I fell off my bike and landed smack hard on the ground. Okay, and then I blamed him, and then I realized, what thought did I think just before I fell? It's going to be really hard. I don't have enough strength. So what was I left with? An injury in my shoulder that didn't give me strength, and landing hard on the ground, which is a perfect match to what I was thinking. You get what you assume, okay? So that means we've got an assumption about life right now, or an outdated program, but we want to change it to an updated program, okay? Well, whatever you put attention on, law of attraction is giving us more of it. So the reason why we have trouble with creating something new is because we observe reality so much. So something goes wrong. See, I've got evidence. I have evidence, universe. There is no way out. I am stuck. Well, you're never stuck, because life is always being recreated new. But your thoughts, you're the master creator, are still on the old. So you're actually recreating old, okay? We think reality is everything. I have learned now to live more in imagination than reality, because imagination is the jumping into the unlimited and the you are limited in reality. You're limited by how many resources you have, by how much cash you have. There are things that you can't do. Our human self, our human being, is only 4D. When we came into this lifetime, the non-physical part of us, the universal part of us, or what we call our inner being, did not leave its universal vantage point. People have this idea that we're either dead, or we're either spirit or human, we're either living or dead. It's neither of that. We are both physical and non-physical at the same time, okay? And this non-physical part decided to stay put stubbornly in its non-physical vantage point. And the non-physical vantage point is that we are loved, we're amazing, we came for an experience, have more fun, don't take this so serious, enjoy life, this is a journey, this is not permanent. Then we get into ourselves in all sorts of knots and twists, because we think, oh my gosh, we're not meant to die, and if someone dies, it's all over. It's no one dies. This is just the avatar. The real us is ongoing for all eternity and having an experience. Okay, so we might as well, what's dead is when you're not letting this life to flow, when you're not allowing yourself to enjoy life. That's what we call the living dead. Okay, that's when we're alive, but we're not alive. Life is this source, this universal energy that is flowing through us, that's being summoned through us. And whenever we get an inspiration, summons energy. Whenever we flow with good, and whenever we make the best of our situation, whenever we look at what's going right, so what's going on, we allow this energy to flow. And then we feel the effects of it, the symptoms of it. We feel joy, we feel ease, we feel confident, we feel relaxed. When we don't allow that to flow because we're choosing thoughts that don't match our inner being, then we close the valve, the energy can't flow. We get the symptoms, we get the fear, we get the anxiety, we get the worry. All of those are just symptoms of a closed valve. And the closed valve is us closing it when we choose to take on a thought that doesn't match our higher self.
You know, we hold such unlimited potential, but we are limited by our own self imposed limitations. So, the question is, how do we tap into our infinite nature to unleash our unlimited potential?
I love the way you said that. I love the way you said that. That was so beautifully said. Our infinite nature, which exists the entire time that we are breathing. Now, here's the thing. If you believe you are a thought, like if I said to you, show me a thought, show me a thought. You should be able to show me a thought, right? I mean, we believe everything that thought says. Show me a thought. What if I told you you are not your thoughts? You are not your thoughts. So you've got to, if you really want to grow in life, you have got to first have a deep understanding. And when you start listening, I call it notice what you're noticing. When you start noticing what's going through your mind, you're going to be appalled. You're going to be like, no way do I say that about myself or say that about other people or feel that way about myself. We're so hard on ourselves, but that is your ego self. That is not your real self. So when I died that day, I had 2 code blues in one day. I literally felt my soul rising out of the top of my head. Weirdest feeling ever. You could literally feel it. And I said to the nurses that were in the ICU room, I said, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. Well, even I didn't know what I was saying, but it literally feels like you, the real you, your infinite nature, that which you really are, was leaving out of the top of my head. Now, all of a sudden, all those thoughts and all those voices, it was gone. It was gone. Now, I wake up in a place of such stillness, I cannot even tell you. You don't want anything on the other side because you know that you actually have everything and you're connected to everything and everyone. So there's nothing to want. You don't want when you're there. I know it sounds odd, but you don't want anything when you're there because you know you have everything. But I'm telling you, people believe that they're the thoughts that run through their head. And I think you should fire that inner critic. They're a mess that tell you all the negative things, what you can and can't do. And those are all lies. And if you investigate those lies, you're going to find out they're not true. It's like investigating your fear. Are they true? Are those fears true? And I'm going to tell you, and people let fear stop them all the time. But are they real? Now, there's a different part of you that is this infinite nature that has all the wisdom you will ever need or want, okay? And that infinite side of your nature, now there are real fears. So like if you're going down a dark alley and all of a sudden the hair on the back of your head stands up, you better pay attention. That's not a thought. That is your innate wisdom. Your innate wisdom, right? And I listen to that part is what I listen to in my life. You have to look at him and evaluate him and see if there's any truth in what you believe. We create the amount of money that we have in our life by our, I call them taught habit patterns. They are patterns of belief. And they literally form synaptic connections within your brain And so they become like a deep, well-worn rut, like a ditch, because over and over and over again, you put the same thoughts together and end up in the same place. So you cannot change your life without going through and actually looking at the truth about you, your beliefs and perceptions. There are so many people that are so ignorant and backwards because they believe crazy, superstitious things, right? And there is a group consciousness for all of us. Now, this group consciousness, everybody that thinks is in that group consciousness. So here's the problem with the group consciousness. So these are in our own area, right? These are pervading ideas about how things are and how the world works. The problem is they're coming from a group consciousness where the same people that believe the earth was flat, these are the brainiacs that we are going around basing our beliefs on. And it's simply not true. So the same people that said people couldn't fly, we would never fly in airplanes, look what we're doing now. I have a good friend who works for SpaceX, right? And I mean, they just shoot off rockets all the time, going into space all the time. Like it's nothing. They do it like, look at what we have accomplished. And there's so much more that we can do. Well, if you think that space exploration is a big deal, trust me, you are capable of probably 90% more than you are doing right now in your life.
So if you want to change your results, instead of changing your habits and trying to change your habits, figure out where the hell that habit is coming from. Start following your thoughts on a day-to-day basis. Like if you want to understand what you believe, watch your behavior. If you say, I'm amazing at saving money, but you're living check to check, apparently your belief system is completely different than what you say, right? Like my client, I'm enough. He believed he was enough. Apparently your belief system says something else because you're behaving differently. You cannot outwork a belief. You will always act in accordance with your beliefs. So if you're not going to use hypnosis, just watch your behavior patterns. Watch your behavior patterns, and you can start realizing, oh, my behavior patterns. Like, for example, let's say if you're a coach, right? Because I work with entrepreneurs. So let's say if you're a coach and you're on a sales call and your program is $5,000, but when it comes to ask the price, you go, it's $2,000, and you don't say $5,000, you say $2,000, right? You can believe I'm worth $5,000. But apparently your behavior clearly shows I'm not good enough, right? So then you can start becoming aware of your beliefs just through studying your behavior. You will catch on to your beliefs, right? And then when you understand what your belief is, that is when I encourage you to use self-hypnosis to basically, it sounds so simple. Use self-hypnosis and just imagine yourself turning that belief off like a little knob, like a volume knob. Just turning it off. Literally, just turning it off and putting a new knob there that says I'm enough and turning that on. I know that sounds insanely simple, but when you're in a state of hypnosis, this is very impactful. Do it consciously, it's not so impactful. But do it in a state of hypnosis, it is. Another thing is, capacity to receive. If you're not receiving the life you want, it's because there's a lack of capacity there. If you're not getting new opportunities, it's because you don't have room for the opportunity, right? When I say you don't have room for the opportunity, I mean it like this. Let's go ahead and let's use the example of one of my clients who truly felt like they were unloved, they couldn't get a better relationship or any of that. What really happened was there was an inner child of her that got sexually abused growing up. And she felt really ashamed because as a young girl, she knew she didn't know any better and she let it happen. She was like 4 or 5 years old, right? So she didn't know any better. And so growing up, she felt really ashamed for being sexually curious like that. And so what she did was she shut that part of herself out. She shut it out, and that part of herself was screaming for her attention, and it kept her from ever being able to bring the person she wanted into her life entirely. But what we did is we were able to help her become aware of that young version of herself and let her go. Like I have my clients talk to them like, hey, young Joyan, like, just so you know, I'm okay now. Like, there's nothing wrong. I know you believe this, but let me show you, you're actually okay. You're safe. You can get whatever you want. You're amazing. You can basically reparent that child. And if you reparent that child, you will shift that child's perspective. When you shift that inner child perspective, you will shift every freaking piece of your conscious day-to-day life.
Whenever you want to create any change in your life from a point of doing things, if at heart, in your soul, at your core, you are the person that doesn't believe it's possible, that believes that you're going to screw it up because you always do, that believes you're not worthy of it, then sooner or later you will come back to your old behaviors, to your old beliefs, and then decide that now it's even worse than before because you tried so many times, you tried so hard only to fail. Because there's no other way. You have to fail if your subconscious beliefs are not aligned with what you want to do, because you will always get in your own way. You will always sabotage your happiness. Because I tell my beautiful clients that the thing is, your subconscious mind can make or break your life, your happiness on autopilot. So when we can shift what you believe is possible for you, what the world is, what certain things mean, that there are no failures, there's only feedback, that you are allowed to make mistakes and learn from them, that you can shift your life regardless of where you are and how many decisions you've made, or maybe wrong turns, that you allowed to do that it's okay, that it's not selfish, that it's not, doesn't mean anything other of you than what you tell yourself that it means, then they say like, oh my gosh, I never thought about it. When they hear like, if a belief is not serving you on your path to what you want to create, then change your belief. Because this is just some BS you're telling yourself. It's based out of your programming, of course. But if money was difficult to make, wouldn't everyone on the planet know that? And everyone would be struggling. If there are no good men, all good men are gone, wouldn't be there become a single happy marriage from now on, or relationship? This is just BS. You telling yourself. The problem with the subconscious mind, in this case, or the challenge, is that it's going to support whatever belief you have. It's going to look for the evidence for what you believe. So if you believe that men are pigs, and that money is difficult to make, there's never enough, and it doesn't grow on trees, and so you always have to struggle, then your subconscious mind and your brain also, there is this structure called reticular activating system, and I could talk about it for hours because it really is so important that we get it. It's a filter that filters through our beliefs and what we tell ourselves. So you're going to find all the evidence why you can never get ahead in life. When you can never make money, whenever you make money, you're going to get broke again. You're never going to be able to build anything. What if you flip it? What if you start believing that, because if money was difficult to make, there would be no wealthy people. Or if money was evil, then nobody in the world would ever use money to help others. That's a whole different story. I could talk about money stories and the law of attraction and all that. But of course, not only in terms of money, but in terms of everything in life. So again, choose your belief. There must be people that believe that money is easy to come by, that money is easy to multiply, that there's always enough for everyone. And then you need to start asking yourself better questions instead of asking yourself, why is this happening to me? Like I've been asking myself, why am I doomed? Why can't I just be happy? I could have just asked myself, how can I get happy? What do I need to do? Who do I need to be in my head? What thoughts do I need to exercise day in and day out to finally figure out how to be happy and do it?
Most people, they are so addicted to finding the problem, but they are not focusing on finding the solution. Like, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't have the resource, I don't know anyone, I don't have people, I don't have business, I don't have anything. They're so focusing on the problem, what they don't have, which is coming from a place of lack. How do you shift their mindset from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset?
You have to want it. And the fact is, Joyan, most people don't want it. They don't want it. They unconsciously enjoy complaining. They unconsciously enjoy having someone to blame. They unconsciously enjoy not being responsible for their own life. They go to the workshops, they do the thing, they jump up and down, they do Tony Robbins, I see him clapping his hands. They go and do this meditation retreat. They go and, I did the YouTube video every day. They go and see Abraham Hicks and ask, oh yes, I've got my question, I'm in the hot seat. Then they come back to the life that they really want because the mind doesn't lose. The mind doesn't lose. It does not lose. And until you're ready to accept the mind doesn't lose and take responsibility for changing what's going on with that program, nothing's going to change for you. No matter how many vision boards you do, how much meditation you do, how many workshops you go to, you're always going to come back home to the lack that you unconsciously are addicted to playing out. So everything that shows up in our life is because we're in an environment and having actions and behaviors that align with it. Our belief system accepts it and our emotional state allows for it. So that's all we're doing. We're lining up what we're feeling, what we're thinking, and what we're doing. So first and foremost, you have to really address, do I really want it? So many people are failing at achieving something because they just don't want it. I never find a man, I never this. It's because you're more addicted to complaining about the man or the woman in your life than you are to being happy. You're actually scared of being happy. You've got trauma about being in a happy relationship. So it's not going to happen. So make sure that you actually want the thing. That's point number one. Once you establish that, then, okay, just like we did before, if you close your eyes and run an image, allow your mind to run an image of that experience, what are 3, 4, maximum 5 emotions that you're feeling in your body in that. Now you've got the emotional GPS coordinates. Then all you need is maybe. Am I open to the possibility that maybe this can happen for me? Anytime you start to feel limitation, can I be certain that this limitation is true? The answer is always going to be no. And then what can I do today that's going to bring me closer into alignment with the physical experience of this thing? Not what can I do tomorrow, but based on where I am now, what can I do? Not what can I do if this happens and if that happens. And it doesn't matter how small. If the only thing I can do right now is I can do some research. I can look at what I can do. I can look at my skills. I can mark my skills down. I can go and make some phone calls. I can go and look at other people who have created $10,000 in that period of time and see what they've done and see where it matches. Every day there's going to be something available to move you forward, no matter how small. But it's by continuing to move through those, celebrating them as we go, that we're going to start actually building that momentum towards it. And that's when you'll find support comes in, synchronicities, and the magic starts to happen because you're actually calling into your reality this thing and allowing it to be a part of your world. But the alignment really is just, what am I feeling? What am I thinking? And what am I doing? Are all of these things supporting what I want or taking me in the other direction? Because I'm always moving somewhere. I'm never stagnant. So I'm either moving towards it or away from it.
Because we can't change if we don't acknowledge that we have a problem. It's like, when they're, AA, they're talking about people, alcohol, and they're saying that you need first to accept and earn that you are an alcoholic, you have a problem before you start to address it. So it's the same thing with us, that we have to be very honest that sometimes we do have problems, and sometimes we don't see them. Sometimes we do, sometimes other people points them out to us and say that you're always doing like this or that. And if a lot of people is telling you the same thing, there's probably something there you need to look at. But here's the problem. Being honest with ourselves, it's really hard because we have to crush the image of who we are. And often we kind of say that, oh, I'm good at this, and I'm always an honest person, and I'm always good at this and that. And sometimes we have to realize that we are not. So we have to look at our shadow sides as well. And that's very uncomfortable doing that. I know when I started to look at my shadow sides, it was really hard because there was a period of time when I felt like a really bad human being. I just saw all my flaws and, oh my God, I'm this and I'm that, and I'm not good as a person. But that was the first step of seeing that some of those faults were just being a human being. We are not perfect. And some of those shadows were really something I needed to address in order to feel more proud about who I was. So we don't want to look because it creates pain. Looking at our dark sides, our shadow sides, and the things that we do wrong, it creates pain in us. It feels us feel unworthy of love. It feels like we are a bad person. It creates pain and shame, and we don't like that. So often we kind of paint it over and we don't want to look at it. But it's important to do it in order to heal, but also to be very empathic about ourselves, to being very kind to ourselves. That when we are seeing all our our flaws and our shadow sides, also realizing that it's not a problem that we have, it's a human problem. We all have those shadow sides in various degrees, and we can all work on them if we want to. But so it's not like you are flawed or I am flawed, but as a human, we have all these kind of sides or parts of us, and some of them are really nice and really valuable, and some of them are a little bit more shady. But it's a part of being a human being.
It's never too late to start, but it's always too late to wait. Right? I'll say it again. It's never too late to start, but it's always too late to wait. So don't wait. Don't be the three old men of life, waiting, hoping, and wishing, right? Because you're not going to get anywhere. And I encourage you, and I'm speaking from the heart, from intent, is that it doesn't matter how old or how young you are, you can still experience abundance. You can still experience breakthrough and success. And again, it's not just the positive thinking of whatever it is. It's not about that. It's how you being fulfilled and living a meaningful life, that you live with purpose, that you know that you can look back 5 years ago and say, you know what? I'm glad I did, rather than I shouldn't have done it, right? You don't want to live in the shoulds. Don't live in the shoulds, right? And that's why you need to rewire your mindset. Say, I must live this in the present. And that's why I said, make that choice and decisions today. So if you're hearing this and, with the fantastic podcast host, Joyan, guys, you're in for a treat, because what she's providing into the community is such gratefulness and so much value that she gives into the community. And I'm so blessed that I'm part of this podcast show, that you're hearing this, because, the best is yet to come for you. And all you got to do is just live it now, not tomorrow, not next week, not next year. I'm telling you, live it right now.
Oh my God, thank you so much for saying that. Guys, make a decision right now.
Yes.
Go for what you want. Write down your goals and start taking action right now while
Yes,
you are
yes.
still listening to this podcast, right? Pauses here and just write down your goals and decide that today is the day.
Mm-hmm.
So what you said was amazing, and that leads me to the next question, which is procrastination. You said about it's it's never too late to start, but it's too late to always
To
to
wait.
wait, right? So
Yeah.
a lot of people are waiting. They know what they want, just they know what they want, but they are being held back by their fear, their limiting beliefs, and they're just really struggling, right? So you said a lot in your videos, like you are a former procrastinator turned action
Yeah.
takers, and
Yeah.
procrastination is the number one killer of success, and so many people are still
Yeah.
struggling with that on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Sometimes I also procrastinate. I'm not perfect,
Mm.
and there are so many things that we want to do, but we are not doing it.
Yes.
So to me, procrastination is all about fear,
Mm-hmm.
right? What it really is not laziness, it's fear,
Yes.
right? Your deepest, most rooted fear. So I would love to know, and also I believe my listeners would love to know as well. How did you overcome your procrastination? What are some of your strategies and tips?
Yeah, you mentioned about fear, which is part of it, but living in regret is the biggest part. Like, you don't want to live in regret. Like, time is so precious right now, you know, and I call it the dash. The year that you're born and the year that you're gonna pass away. And I know we don't like to talk and think about this, but it's in the middle. I call it the dash. What are you gonna do in that dash? Right? And to me, that's pivotal. Like, oh my goodness, am I gonna leave a legacy? Am I gonna leave an imprint? Am I gonna of that nature? And yes, it's all about the belief system. Yes, it's all about the fears, but it's the regret part that I don't want to live in regret. Because and I'm saying this, you can never change your past. You can never change what's been done, but what you can do right now is change your destiny. And so if you're living in procrastination right now, I understand you and I acknowledge you, right? And I want to let everyone know that's listening right now, it's okay to be at procrastination mode, but it's not going to change your life at all. It's not going to move you at all. I want you to acknowledge, yes, I'm procrastinating. That's fine, but I want to give you a deadline date. What is your deadline date to get out of that? Right? And we don't give permission to feel what we're feeling right now. And if you want to get out of the procrastination mode, is really think about what you don't want to regret. And when you put yourself in a place of the dash to say, you know what am I going to leave here? Because I know that 5 years down the track, it's going to go just like that. But what have I done with my life? Because you can never bring back the past, whatever, but you can do right now. And you know what? This is self-empowerment to you guys that's listening, because there's two things for self-empowerment. Number one is awareness. What are we doing right now? You are being aware of what's happening in the last 42 minutes of this podcast show and this session. You are aware right now. So there's no excuse to say, I didn't know that. I didn't hear this. Well, let me tell you, my friend, you're listening it right now. And that's number one, awareness. Number two is responsibility. Now that you know that you are aware, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to be responsible? Because what we put in is what we're going to get. Our outcomes and our results and successes doesn't just happen out of thin air. It's what you put in. And so right now, that responsibility, what are you going to do with your life? Why am I really, 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 like really pushing this forward to everyone? Is because I want to shake you up. You've been in a bottle for so long that you need to be shaken up. Sometimes I need to get a bottle and just flip you over. You know that flip the bottle challenge? I need to just flip you over, right? And there needs to be a shake in your life. But let me tell you right now that you're listening and watching to this podcast show, and I want you to listen it with such, and I want to say with out of my heart, with gratitude, is that don't live in regret. If you're procrastinating right now, give a deadline date to say, okay, I'm going to procrastinate for 3 days. But after 3 days, I'm making that choice and decision, right? Procrastination is a serious thing. However, when I got into procrastination, is because I wasn't aware. I didn't know. But now that you know the truth, because the truth will set you free, but it's the truth that you can actually handle, because what we're doing right now is we're telling this, and when we're showing you there is another way. There is another way. And you can take that route, you can take that destiny of yours by making that choice right now. So what would it be? Is it a yes, maybe, or I don't know? And I want to just close in this question is there's 3 types of people that are listening right now. The procrastinators, the thinkers, and the doers. So I know that if you're listening to this podcast for the last segment of this right now, you're a doer because you did not shut this podcast episode down.
Yes.
You're still listening right through this whole entire segment, and that's being a doer. So don't become a procrastinator. Don't be a thinker that just think, and doesn't do anything at all. Like, that's a really good one. But never do jack all. But those who are actually doing something, and it doesn't have to be a big leap. It can just be a small set of actions, small wins that actually, trickles into the big thing. So don't live in regret. Put a time frame around that procrastination and make it happen and make that choice and decision right now. So what Joyan is saying about procrastination, you're listening to this episode, take that action right now and write it. I'm telling you, write it out. Write it out. And it's going to set you free.
Yeah. Write down when is your deadline, because a goal, even for your goals, you have to write down the deadlines for you to achieve your goal, because a goal without a deadline is just a wish, it's just a hope. And
Yeah.
Exactly. Right?
Exactly.
I love that. Oh my God. We're so in sync. Oh my God, I love that. Thank you again for tuning to Find Joy with Joyan podcast. If you love and enjoy today's episode, you can help support this podcast in one of 3 ways. 1, take a screenshot of this episode and share it on your IG story and tag me at joyan.chan so I can repost and connect with you. 2, share this podcast with a friend or family member. And 3, leave a positive review on Apple Podcasts so we continue to grow and reach more listeners worldwide. And make sure you also subscribe so you don't miss out on any episode coming Wednesday. And my joyful friends, until next time, keep showing up. Success doesn't show up for you until you show up and pursue your own success. Again, thanks for being here, and I will see you soon in the next episode.